What's up, everybody? I am back with another movie review, and this one, uh, don't know if many people remember this film. You might have it in your DVD collection. You probably, lost in the recesses of your collection. But I'll be covering the 2005 film, a remake of the Nick at Night old TV show Bewitched, with probably one of the most iconic theme songs or jingles of television history, and like da 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 da. It's very catchy, uh, very catchy jingle, and that's one of the best ways to hook people to a show. Is if you have like a kick-ass theme song or a jingle that gets in your brain, kind of like Sailor Moon theme song or Pokemon. It's like one of those theme songs that is just like that hooks you in, and I think Bewitched is like iconic. Uh, a lot of people, especially a lot of millennials, probably, I'm not gonna say guaranteed, but it's probably the last generation that will appreciate those classic 60s era sitcoms, because I don't know if there's that many Gen Zs that, maybe if the millennial kids who had children and was watching old Nick at Night shows probably show that to their kids, and they will probably have some kind of level of appreciation for like Bewitched or I Love Lucy, or Honeymooners. Matter of fact, Honeymooners is also, there was a particular era in the early 2000s where they try to remake the old classic Nick at Night shows, because they try to do a remake of Honeymooners but with Regina Hall, Cedric Entertainer, Mike Epps, and somebody else. I forgot the it was a fourth person. Let me look this up really quick. Yeah, it was around the same time. Oh my goodness. They were literally in the same month of the release date of Bewitched. Yeah, Gabrielle Union was the fourth person I was trying to think of. It's like, wow. There was definitely like a moment. Uh, oh my goodness. I should put this on the list for next year's review for February, for Black History Month / Valentine's Day. Like, wow. Like, right in the same year. That blew my mind. I didn't even know this. Or I probably didn't even remember that. Wow. Uh, yeah, man. But, yeah, I mean, those 50 classes, they're classes for a reason. Uh, and do y'all say so? A huge favor out there who haven't, like, I mean, I'm not saying you should watch the entire series, but it will behoove you to look. I'm pretty sure maybe it's on HBO Max, kind of like under the Turner Classic Movies or something. I'm not sure. Try to find online some episodes. Maybe it's on YouTube. Maybe try to find just some episodes, some random episodes of like 3 or 4 episodes of Bewitched, 3 or 4 episodes of Honeymooners, and 3 or 4 episodes of I Love Lucy, and 3 or 4 episodes of what was that other show with the Fonz, Happy Days. Do yourself a huge favor and look up those particular episodes, because there's like charm to those episodes, to those shows. Of course, there's been like certain like biopics of I Love Lucy that they did very recently that I think was pretty solid. I can't remember, but those shows is like you know really catapulted Hollywood to a stratosphere in terms of, because like really when like that golden age of Hollywood really was hitting its stride, and generating old Hollywood that we knew of it. Anyway, this was directed by the late Nora Ephron. Uh, uh, Based on the TV show Bewitched by Sol Sachs. Stars Nicole Kidman as Isabel Bigelow. And this is a remake, mind you. Will Ferrell as Jack Wyatt. Shirley MacLaine as Iris Smithson. Michael Caine as Nigel Bigelow, the father. Jason Schwartzman, I didn't even realize he was in this, as Richie. Christian Chenoweth in her first movie, big budget movie breakout, as Maria Kelly. Heather Burns as Nina. Jim Turner as Larry. We got, and mind you, these, back in 2005, a lot of people was like really young here. We got Stephen Colbert as Stu Robinson. Now, mind you, back in the early 2000s, Stephen Colbert and Will Ferrell weren't like, shilling liberal smucks as they are right now. Especially Will Ferrell, because this is like still in that era of, what was that college movie he was in? Crap. I'm blanking on it. Old School. It was like only a couple of years after Old School and Elf. And matter of fact, no, strike that. 2001 with Zoolander, going all the way to holy crap. Oh, I'm still going. He's been hitting like a good stride in like almost every, because I'm thinking there's like a gap, because he had like a bit part in Austin Powers' The Spy Who Shagged Me. Matter of fact, I think it's sorry, it was International Man of Mystery. So it's 1997. I'm sorry, I had to cause this is kind of blowing my mind right now, because I didn't even know this until you actually put it in face value. He has been a consistent freaking actor for only like a year or two breaks in between films he's been doing. So after his run in Saturday Night Live in 2002, he had like a small part in Austin Powers, the first Austin Powers movie. Then a year later, it was Night at the Roxbury, great film. Then next year, Superstar. Same year, in 1999, he reprised his role in Austin Powers, The Spy Who Shagged Me. 2 years later, in Zoolander. Another 2 years later, Old School, was, I think that's when like he really kind of cemented his like into the worldwide like box office star. But then Elf really cemented everything. Then Anchorman next year, because Elf is 2003. No, Old School, Elf was in 2003. Then Anchorman 2004. 2005, The Producers. Then same year, 2005, The Producers, Bewitched, and Kicking and Screaming. Now, of course, a few of these, like kicking and screaming. I don't remember it being very good. But then in 2006, Stranger Than Fiction, which I really liked that film. Very underrated Will Ferrell film in my opinion. Talladega, Talladega Nights in 2006, same year as Stranger Than Fiction, and Curious George. Then 2007, Blaze of Glory. Don't remember it being that good. Same next year with Semi Pro, but in the same year, 2008, Step Brothers, which a lot of people rave. I wasn't a personal fan of Step Brothers. Not that I hated it, but it wasn't my jam. Then, you know, Land of the Lost. I don't remember it being very good in a lot of people's eyes. In 2009, I don't even remember him being in like Everything Must Go. It might not have done very well because I don't even remember it being like promoted in 2010. But in the same year, in 2010, he was in The Other Guys, which was very good. Megamind was very good. Then in 2012, he was in The Campaign. Then the following year with Anchorman 2, which I don't remember, a lot of people liking it as much, but it was still okay. Then 2014, the Lego Movie. Then 2015 was Daddy's Home and Get Hard, which I don't think many people cared for those. Then, of course, 2016 was Zoolander 2, which wasn't very good at all. Same thing with Daddy's Home in 2017, wasn't very good. Then Holmes and Watson 2018 definitely was not very good. So he has some, good chunk of misses in around this period, after Lego Movie. Then Lego Movie 2 in 2019. Then 2020 Eurovision. I don't even remember this at all. Then 2022 Spirited. Then 2023 with the Barbie movie. Then 2024 was Despicable Me 4 and Will and Harper. So it's like I thought it was I swear to God, I thought there was a gap in some of these years, but he only had like a break in between films by 1 or 2 years. Wow, it just felt like, I don't know, it just felt like he, because usually their actors have like at least like a 3-year gap at most. 3-4 year gaps at most. This dude is consistently working. I can't not, ignore the work ethic here. Holy crap. Anyway, so I got off of a Will Ferrell tangent here. There's a good half of his body of work I really love, but his other half not a fan of. Matter of fact, there's plenty of people that I know that, is one of those kind of stars that didn't resonate with them, or they kind of fell off in their eyes. I can see why, because half of his filmography, I was like, wow, this is like he's really phoning it in. Not that he's phoning it in, but it's just like he's ran into the same issues as Adam Sandler has back in the day, where he kind of run with the same, antics that back in the early 2000s was, funny, but it kind of like most people kind of grew out of it. Anyway, we got David Allen Greer as Jim Fields, Michael Balakou as Joey Props, Katie Finnerman as Sheila Wyatt, Nick Lackey as Cooley, Kate Walsh as Nadine, Carol Shirley as Aunt Clara. We got Steve Carell as Uncle Arthur. Amy Sedaris and Richard Kind reprised their role as Gladys and Abner Kravitz, who was in the original 50s. Well, no, he wasn't. They take up the role as the Kravitz in the characters in the 50s. Anyway, now this ain't like a regular remake. This is kind of like a remake based off the actual real world television series. Uh, uh, Jack Wyatt plays this, actor who's like kind of, on like a downward slope after his recent divorce from his former wife, and he hasn't like making like a big movie hit in a while. So producers have pitched him an idea of remaking the 50s sitcom Bewitched in a more updated modern day standard, but they're having trouble finding a good Samantha. More specifically, trying to find one that can actually do the like the notes twist thing, which Nicole Kidman, plays a spot on Samantha. As a matter of fact, I wanted to say this right here and now. I think Nicole Kidman is probably like the highlight of this entire film. In all honesty, well, not as the entire film. I think, all the the witch family ilk that surrounds her, and the woman who's playing Adora in the modern update show, Shirley MacLaine. I think all of them were like the standouts for me, but specifically Nicole Kidman and Michael Caine in terms of like standout performances, in my opinion. Not to say like everybody else was bad, but they just kind of like chewed the scenery a whole lot better. But by going at the bookstore, because Isabel moved into LA, trying to have like a normal life away from like the witchiness of her upbringing. And of course the dad pops up here and there, trying to kind of like the mother role from the 50s, but instead of it being the mom, it's the dad this time, and he's pretty much like a old school player. He's trying to get the daughter to embrace that side, but she's kind of want to be normal, not try to let this affect her life, even though she's using magic to have this beautiful home without having to pay rent or mortgage, I should say. But she's trying to like find like a day job. But she at this bookstore runs into Jack, who sees her do the nose wiggle, and because they him and the producers gone through several actresses trying to be cast in this role, but a lot of them, because now that I got put in this kind of position to observe kind of like well, I don't want to divulge too much, but it's just like I kind of understand this kind of position from that side of things, but it's just like I get it. And the fact that it comes down to like most of the time body language, and the fact that Isabel kind of just nailed that twitch, and I think that's the key, just in the grand scheme of the movie in general. The fact that they, okay, sure, like Nicole Kidman is like a big name actress, but I cannot fathom how many women they tried to audition for before they got to Nicole Kidman, who, because I think just like probably trying to cast this role in general, because they initially, because this movie's been in development and hell for a good period of time before it was released in 2005, initially they wanted Jim Carrey in the role, but they end up going with Will Ferrell, and be kind of interesting to see how Jim Carrey would have played this compared to Will Ferrell, because Will Ferrell's not everybody's cup of tea, and I can understand why. But I can't imagine who they tried to cast for the role of Isabel, because that nose twitch has to be like, that has to be nailed, because it's not easy, and of course she has like a very unique kind of nose, not to say pointy, but it's very distinct, and the fact that you had to be able to wiggle it on command, and I imagine Nicole Kidman can still do that because she's very good and very talented. And she offers this kind of very 50s Susie Homemaker kind of vibe, where it's very pleasant, very feminine. That is a perfect example, a perfect word for this, just in general. Nicole Kidman brings a femininity to the Isabel role, who's bringing it to the role for Samantha. Which Jack realized this, and he walks up to her, asks her, "Hey, will you be a part of this role? I need you." And of course, she wants to find. I was struggling to put this on the list for February, but I decided to go with like October because it's about witches and everything like that. But this is something like we sorely miss in movies nowadays, where it's just a woman because Isabel wants to find a husband. She wants to find a husband, but movies now and TV shows nowadays, in the past handful of years, probably ever since the Me Too movement, Hollywood's been trying to go to the polar opposite direction, where they can't have a girl looking for love, let alone allowing the guy to initiate the kiss, which most women want, despite what some might say. And it's just like, you look at this, it's like, oh my God, a woman who actually wants to find love and a husband. She's infatuated with Jack, so she, in the fact that a good handsome man needs her, and she wants to be that everything for him. So she agrees and auditions, and because she actually comes from a witch life, but she keeps that under wraps, she has a bit of like, Isabel has a bit of like naivete about her, because when somebody calls Jack a D-I-C-K, she didn't understand like the double meaning behind that, which offers a level of charm that I do appreciate, because it's like, oh my God, you're so charming that something like that, negative connotation goes completely over your head. It's just like, you, as a man, you want to protect a woman like that at all costs, because it's like, oh my God, you just so pleasant and endearing, and just, it offers some kind of vibe that speaks to a man's, masculinity and spirit. We kind of naturally drawn to like a woman like that. It's just like, oh God, that's like lovely. Anyway, you just naturally want to take care of a woman like that. It just speaks to the male biology. So she kills it in the audition, because like, unbeknownst to everybody else, she actually comes from that kind of lifestyle, and she just offers this kind of back and forth with Jack in the rehearsal. And it just like really resonated with everybody, and everybody found her funny and charming. She is very funny and charming in this. So they got the green light, and everything like that. But you notice right away, which is smart writing, I gotta say, where when they do the pilot, the animated, opening credits, unlike the real world opening credits of the actual TV show, the first thing you see is Samantha, because she is kind of like the headliner of the entire show from the 50s. She's the first thing you see before anything else. But here is Jack. And it speaks to Jack's ego as like this mega star who's on like a downward turn in his career. He's the first thing you're seeing, and there's clouds of smoke covering up the face of the Samantha character. And when they're shooting the pilot, Isabel barely has any lines, and he has the most lines. But even though that was the case, the audience resonated with Isabella and not Jack. But when she overhears Jack speak with his manager about them just like tricking her to get involved so they can get this pilot, the show greenlit, she gets upset, and then her aunt shows up, and her and her friends decide to place this hex. Well, more so the aunt and her place this hex on Jack to like a love spell where he's just so infatuated with her, but then she comes to regret it because it's not, because she actually like him deep down, but she knows that most of it feels false and fabricated. So she uses a spell to kind of rewind time prior to the spell incantation and let the course of time play out naturally. And people was loving her, but he gets a little upset, but she chews him out for the disrespect and everything like that, and just storms off and says she quit. But Jack never got talked to like that, and that kind of infatuated. He becomes infatuated with her because he nobody ever told him the truth and what's real. So he begs her to come back. The show starts kicking off and everything like that, and the McLean lady actually is a witch, like more out there than you realize. And then they go to this they do like a house party to the celebration of the show at Jack's place, where the feeling started sparking up between the two leads, and she decides to reveal the truth to him, to admit like, hey, I'm a witch, showing off all this magical stuff. But he thought she's just like an amateur magician, until she shows him her broom and have it flying while he's still holding on. He freaks out. She gets a little hurt and flies away. His world is kind of shattered until he has this crazy hallucination, and this is kind of where it lost me here. Hallucination, because he's a fan of the actual 50s sitcom. He imagines speaking with his favorite character from the show, Uncle Arthur, played by Steve Carell, who's doing like a very good impression of the actual 50s character, and convinces him that no, you really did have feelings for this woman. She speaks to you, to your spirit. She's she's like an incredible woman. It would be stupid for you to pass this up of a good opportunity of an awesome woman. So he ends up going back and speaking with her to continue on with the show, and he confesses his feelings towards her. 7 months later, they get married and have like a nice home together in the same style as like the kind of neighborhood you saw from the actual 50s show, with the neighbors who see all these quirky stuff go by. Well, the wife does, but the husband don't believe her, which was always a running gag of the 50 show. I do remember that back in the day. But yeah, and that was the end of the movie. It's not many people care for it. It didn't do terribly, but it's just like I said, it kind of loses me towards like the third act. But everything else prior, it was like a good time. More so with like Isabella's character and her family, and of course like the other witch, McLean. But yeah, everything else, the jokes was like very hit and miss. But it's at least worth a watch one time because it still has some level of charm to it. Things that were sorely missed in movies nowadays. Because it's funny how time things change over time. Look back on like certain early 2000s films, and as crappy as they were when they came out, in some cases they still are. It's still like a starking contrast, and like still more appreciated, now than movies that's coming out in recent years because of certain quotas, mandates, DI, intimacy coaches and all this other stuff that's mucking up things because people are too scared to tell certain jokes or do certain things without it looking like they're gonna get boycotted or something. I don't know. But in any case, still is an alright film. It's alright. I don't want. And yeah, I'm not sure how often people want to revisit it, but like I remember only seeing the one time when it came out on cable, because I didn't have a job in 2005 yet, and I was still was in school, and it wasn't those kind of movies like I had to go to the movie to go see this movie Bewitched. I waited till it came on cable. I watched it. I remember it, being fine, and rewatching it now after all these years, still fine. Still a fine, average film. Worth a watch. Anyway, I got one more movie I want to review before I end the stream tonight. But in any case, leave a comment below. Let me know what Nick at Night 50s sitcom, or just Nick at Night sitcom in general, that you remember enjoying watching on television reruns of. Because, yeah, I think I Love Lucy was mine. Personal one. I remember watching Bewitched and Happy Days, and I don't even know if Three Stooges really count, but I definitely was an avid of Three Stooges watcher. But aside from Three Stooges, in terms of classic Nick at Night stuff, I remember watching some Honeymooners, but I think I Love Lucy was the biggest one I've watched a lot. But in any case, I will see you guys in a little bit. Take care.